we can go from there. Well, tonight's the required thing that we refer to as the state of the club. And so, can you see, or do you need some of these lights darkened out? You good? We good? All right. The LWRA, greatest club on earth. Anybody disagree with that? Promoting education, communications, and camaraderie using ham radio. That's what we do. And that's our logo. And that's our saying that we use. We don't use it enough, but that's exactly what we do. 2025 was absolutely a banner year for this club. There's no question about it, because we got 102, actually 101 members for 2025. That's one up from 2024, and actually two up from 24. We did have a few of us join at the end of the year, so we'll throw the commercial in here. Reminder: dues are due between now and March 15th. The Ides of March. There's a reason that we made it that day. If you're not familiar with the Ides of March, maybe you need to go back and read some Shakespeare. Hey, tu brute. Yes. So anyway, great bunch. And we had some conversation today at lunch. If you don't know, and this excludes Christine, but my wife refers to it as the crotchety old man's lunch. There's a bunch of us get together for a lunch. If you're interested in doing that on Thursday, let us know. They move around from place to place. Today it was all at Olive Garden. But anyway, we discussed that. Gary's going to brief us a little bit on the financial status and give us an update.
All right. So December, we started the month with $7,844.12 total current asset. Net change of $1,000. Where'd that come from? We had a big donation, $642. That was from Russ coordinated that of some equipment, and dues came in. So we ended the month at $8,845. 4 members joined us: AI Ford, JD Mike, NF6P David. He's been on the WinLink thing for a while. KO4RTY, Jaden Paul, KR6HSS Roger. And then Tommy Cloud, he always gives us donations. And then Russ, as I mentioned. And at the time I wrote this, at the end of the year, it was 101 members. Okay, now for the whole year, if you take a look, we started the year with $7,388 in our balance, and our total assets increased by $1,400 and $1,456.96. So we ended up with $8,845.26. So I always like to look at what we budgeted and what we spent. So PayPal, let's look at the 25 budget. $40 for PayPal. We spent $29. That varies. There's 2 ways to do PayPal. Some of them, if you do it, well, I'll say the inexpensive way is it costs us 64 cents. If you do it the more expensive way, it's 97 cents. It's because PayPal thinks you're actually buying something when it's the 97 cents. When it's the 64 cents, it's a donation thing. And it has to do with if you scan the screen with your phone or you try to do it directly. It's not worth trying to figure it all out. It's just a couple of cents per member that it goes one way or the other. I'm just happy to get the money. Liability insurance, $300. Property insurance, same, $365.75 as budgeted. Office supplies budgeted $80. We went with $88. Post office box went up $10. And corporate tax, same. We took that over. I think we're getting who's that before us? We're doing the web house. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, we set it up directly with us. Now we go directly with QTH rather than going through him. Printing for postcards, radio equipment. We had a power module, $45. Didn't spend anything on Zoom. We made a donation to a sponsorship for an EMT or a firefighter through the CERT Foundation. which was something new for us, but that directly helps a future firefighter or EMT. And that hasn't been given out yet. Actually, that'll be given out next year because that was done at the meeting where they were giving that out. So you can see that our total income was $2,091, and our net then became $337.28. That's the actual versus the budget. So for next year, I'm pretty much budgeting the same thing. What that means is that if we have $47, we cover all 47 members, we cover all expenses. So we're at 102. So we're in pretty good shape. As long as we keep the membership up, I mean, that's what drives our income, because it's all dues and donations. That's all that's generating our money. But we did really well for the year.
Do we
I'm really
have any
impressed.
assets?
Well, we have the equipment.
Are we depreciating that? How are we doing the accounting on that?
No, we don't.
Okay. It dies, it dies.
Yeah, I mean, if we
So
have
it's
the
cost
insurance,
account.
will cover it. If
Only depreciated for 5 years, and I think that repeater.
Well, I mean, it's good to know if we have a net worth that's higher because we've got, an asset or two.
Yeah.
And the idea that if we have to replace the repeater, we know what it would,
so we could, yeah, everything is covered on our insurance. It's with ARLL,
So it's cost replacement on the repeater on the lightnings, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, we have to keep it up to date. There's the list, and then that is a challenge to make sure if we swap something out or change it, that we do change it. But they're really easy to work with, those folks. That's it for the year. I think it was really good. We're in a very good position. The only question I would have sometimes is what more can we do? How can we use that? When I started this, I think we had 3,000. So I've seen this thing grow, by $5,000 over the time I've been treasurer. We made the contribution last year. That was a new thing for us to help the community. Is there more we could do to help the community with this, and how would we do it? It could be kind of a question, strategic question. We, as a nonprofit, we cannot benefit individually from this. It has to be the community somehow benefits from this.
We want to discuss that now?
Maybe at the end, because we've got a couple of things that we can potentially do. There it goes. All right. Talked about the membership status, and thank you very much, Gary, for what you do. You do a stellar job as the treasurer. You can see he's very organized, and his presentation that he does for the budget is amazing. We get our money's worth out of him, I can tell you. Thank you very much. And again, we also have Gene. Gene, give us a little update on the postcard campaign.
Okay. So way back in the dark past, we had an idea to do a marketing campaign for the approximately 500 ham radio operators who exist on the east side of the county who don't, for whatever reason, show up here or at LWRA. So we decided, we talked about it. We wanted to produce a postcard. Here's a sample. And so it's, basic. That's our own one. And the idea was that we'll essentially mail those out, which will begin now that we got the web page sorted out. And so we'll monitor it over the approximately next 90 days to see if we get any kind of bump in new members or contacts or anything. Like I said, you could look up the number of hams who are unaffiliated. It's pretty interesting. No, they're not affiliated. A lot of them, you used to never hear them on the airwaves. So we're hoping to get them involved in the club. And in that effort, what I would like to recognize is John Thacker jumped in at the beginning to help out with just some of the note details. Grant Burhans helped out with the concept of how we would do this. Daryl Davis worked on the webpage, and Russ Delaney did a really nice intro video that's on the landing page connected to the postcard. So probably by the end of next week, we should be done mailing.
Very good. If you've never looked at the number of call signs in this area, it's amazing the number of call signs within the geographic Lake Wales, general Lake Wales area. And I know that Lake Wales expands its tentacles all over the county as far as this club is concerned. And that's critical. My goal is to outgrow this facility. So that's where we need to keep moving, because an active club is a productive club. Thank you, Jane, and thank you, sir, for all you do. You are a valued asset, sir. Net information. We do run nets. Some people participate in them, some don't. The purpose of nets is to practice organized communications. We do it on the UHF repeater. We actually do 2 nets. We have an informal net which follows right behind it. And typically we have, on average, 24 check-ins a week. Now, you stop and think about that just a minute, and I'll show you, look over to the comparison. Here's the other nets in the area. The Eagle net, which we know covers, what, 11 counties?
Yeah.
It has on an average of 35 to 50. We're at 24 each week. And then our informal, which doesn't worry about this number, it runs more about this number, which is the time, because it's a round table net, usually averages, if it's well attended, it averages about 20 to 40 minutes. This past week, it was 40 minutes. And that's because the net was being run by the repeater killer. But you have good nets, so join in the nets. But there they are. So we have 50 for the Eagle net. The other area nets, both Highlands County and the Lakeland Club and the Kissimmee, they average 11 to 25. So we're the high end of normal. And our club, because we are very encouraging for GMS operators, that's the tank we're fishing in. Okay. We've gotten a lot of members from the GMRS community. If you ever go to that net, it averages 35 a week. Just for one in the can, sometimes 41, 42. It's a fun net. We've gotten them taught how to play radio on the nets, and that net with 35 people lasts 17 minutes. So we've got them going pretty good on checking in the nets, to the point that we've had an article written about us, about that net. So thank you, Christine, for doing that and telling the world about, what we're doing and how that we've recognized that these folks are, if you don't know, it's 5 to 1 now. 5 to 1 GMRS licensee versus ham. That's the best pool to fish from. They want to play with radios. And for our nets, I'd like to thank the net controllers who do their stuff. The old repeater killer is W4JFS, John. If you don't know what that is, he killed one of our repeaters one night on the net. Just burn it up. So we nicknamed him the repeater killer, KU8Q. John is the one that convinced me to become a net controller several years ago, and I have had so much fun with it. So he called me last year and he says, I'd really like to go back and be a net controller. And I said, sure. Well, he informed me today that he's going to have to give that slot up. So if you're interested in being a net controller, we've got an open spot on the 2nd or 3rd week. I do the 3rd week, but I can go anywhere. Big Jim right here, JPC, is one of our net controllers. And he runs, and then KT4WX, he gets to do it 4 times a year on the 5th Tuesday. And then my fill-ins are Grant and Dave in the back, and he's had a good time with it. And then this year we had Gary fill in as well. So it's a fun time. If you've ever wanted to do the net, let me know. I will guarantee you no one has ever gotten a black eye through their radio speaker. So you can't mess it up too bad. So it's a fun time. VEs. I know there's a bunch of them sitting in the room. They are at the Red Cross. And thank you so much for the hospitality for letting us go over to the Red Cross. And in 2025, the LWRA had 10 testing sessions. They had 32 applicants with 26 successful testings. That's a good report to me. It was slightly down from over the last year. It had 88% of the people that came in the door candidates passing. So what did we do as a club for this? Because we kept looking at it and the board says, let's do something a little bit different for this testing thing. So here's what we did. We come to the club and said, if you test at the LWRA and you pass your test, your technician's test, we'll give you a year's free membership. What did it cost the club? Nothing. It's an open door to let them come in, and we'd love to thank the American Red Cross again for the use of their facilities and for their testing, and John Thacker, who heads it up. And here's some of the VE team, and Mike and Christine and there's a couple of others in here, Dave, that we'll miss. John Thacker, Mike Green, Christine, Dave, Dan, Gary. It's not Dave Haslam, it's Dan. Sorry about that. Dave in the back there, Gary are all part of that. And I know there's a couple of more, but I don't know who all is.
Dave Bishop and Jim Essex,
Okay.
Bob Brown.
Claude Brown. Okay. NI4S.
Yeah.
Rick. Okay. I knew I'd forget somebody. So, you know, they say never put names up if you can't
Last
remember.
one we had 2 technicians pass.
Yep. We had 2 technicians pass, and one of those guys is very interested in the club, even though he lives in Plant City. And I sent him a message and told him, don't worry about that. We got people that live in Riverview. So he's actually closer to the club than the person in Riverview. We got people in Lake County and Riverview and Hardee County. We got a lot of people around. QRPs, huh?
North Carolina.
We got one in North Carolina and one in Minnesota.
Don't forget Ohio.
And well, yeah, but he keeps coming back. He's like a boomerang.
Called me today from New Orleans and said he's reviewing.
Yeah, we got one in New Orleans too that belongs to the club. So that's pretty cool. QRP committee, there's some of the QRP committee folks that are there. And one of the things that we've added, you know, over the last couple of years, we brought back, this was actually a tradition years ago when we only had 4 or 5 people show up at our QRPs. Our QRPs are attended now pretty heavily. And so we started this hot dog thing. So we nicknamed them. We call them Big Dogs on the Porch. And when he can't come, it's Top Cat Cafe. So we have 2 different chefs that are doing that, and they're cooking away. We had also a QRP this year, which was another article at Mary Holland Park. We had a training session where we delivered traffic into the EOC, specifically coming from GMRS operators, because they've never contacted the EOC. So we had a training session, and they were given scripts at the beginning part of it. And after they got used to using the scripts, we gave them situations, and they had to develop their own report into the ERC. The EOC was manned by Ben and Russ, and they had some good times, and they threw some rocks back at them to where they had to give some information. Really we'd hand them a script, and it had this. I think one of them was a shooting in a parking lot, and they reported this shooting in a parking lot, and there was nothing on the answer sheet. And then Ben comes back and goes, can you describe the shooter? Can you describe the vehicle that they're in? Can you tell us how many victims there are? And they have to think. They have to think at that point. So it was a great test. We had a lot of CERT people participating in it from all over the county and at their some CERT locations. And we had a lot of CERT people at our QRP for the first time. So that was a good thing. On average, we have at our QRPs 33 folks. That's a lot of folks walking around playing with radios. And we have on average between 7 and 9 stations set up. Even at our what we referred to this last month, which is not on a Saturday, it was on a Monday. So we called it almost QRP. And we were at a state park. We had 7 or 8 stations set up, and everybody was operating, and it was great. And then, and y'all probably read this in my thing, at the very end, how many of you were there whenever this gentleman walked up to us? This gentleman walked up to us, and he was a Vietnam vet. So the hat that he had on. And he goes, who are you guys talking to? And we had just been talking about everybody thinks we're talking to aliens. So being the very smart alecky self I am, I said, we're talking to aliens. And he goes, really? I said, really? So he sits down. He's from Fort Lauderdale, Jupiter. He was a,
He's an alien from Jupiter.
yeah, he was from Jupiter, Florida. He was a Cobra pilot in Vietnam. And he said, I went from a killing machine to a life-saving machine. He did 30 years as a fire rescue helicopter pilot in Miami. He was busy. So we talked for a few minutes, come to find out he's a ham. He's never talked on the radio. He got his license. He's never talked on the radio. So I got his information and I contacted the club closest to him in Jupiter and said, this is the guy you need to reach out to. He walked over to us. He walked over to us to find out what we were doing. So he needs a little TLC to be on the radio. So our QRPs have extended down to Jupiter now. So, and we had Paul over here. He came out. It was this one. It was that's not your first QRP. Yeah. Yep. So he had a great time, and we had another person that was there, is brand new ham. He'd never seen any of this stuff. He's a member of the club. He couldn't believe it. He said, "You guys can do all this with a piece of wire?" He was just totally amazed that we were doing this stuff. So this has turned out to be our premier educational aspect of our club, is bringing people out. And how did we do that? If you don't know, we nickname it. We steal the name QRP. We don't really do QRP. We're not little bitty measuring the 5 watt, being all that legal. We're setting up stations and we're wanting the technicians to come put their hands on radios so that they see what all we do. How do we do that? We have themes. We advertise it. Our QRP is called the Lake Wells QRP and Tailgate Tech. So that tailgate tech is something that the technician can put his hands on. Not only the technician, maybe someone else. We'll do DMR, we'll do D-Star, we'll do Yaesu Fusion, we'll do APRS, we'll do WinLink, we'll do whatever we can that somebody's having a question about. What's the best way to answer that question is in person and show them how to do it. So we set it up and let them play with it. And then while they get through playing with that, they go, well, Dan, how's this FT8 working over here? And Dan takes them over here and shows them how he's doing his FT8. That's how you get people interested in the ham radio as a broad spectrum. And it works for us. 2025 field day in June. We kind of marry up with our friends. About 25 to 30% of this club belongs to the Lakeland Club. And we go over to their QRP event, their field day event. And we operate stations. We had about 6 people show up this year in the system. It's going to be exciting this year because we're going to be in a different location. A lot of new stuff's going to be happening, so it's going to be very cool. Some of that stuff will be coming out. One of the things I didn't put in here, Christine participates in it. I don't believe you've ever stopped by and helped at the Sun and Fun station. Ben, have you been at the Sun and Fun station? Do you ever stop by the Sun and Fun station, or other than just do a video story? We actually set up a special event station at Sun and Fun, and both clubs participate and run in that during the daytime hours on whatever, either 40 or 20, whatever is active, sometimes 10. Have several stations set up. Last year, ICOM sent us a brand new 7300 to use. So we have some pretty good equipment to play with. So if you'll start hear about that next month, and do not delay. Repeat, do not delay. If you want to go, you'll have to sign up as soon as we release the list, because they have to get you on the roster to get your parking credentials. They get a free ticket, so you work in the morning or you work in the afternoon, and you swap it around, you go out and see the air show, or you go through the event. So if you've never been to Sun and Fun, this will be my 50th. So it's a good thing to go to, but there's
going to
no.
be out there for the FMCA Southeast Area Rally,
Don't know. What is that?
February
Oh,
There's something almost every weekend now.
Yeah. Yeah, you use that facility wisely. They use that facility for a lot of other stuff. So there's a lot of guys that are associated with that event out there at Sun and Fun. If you need information, Mike, we can tell you how it works. I'm sorry. I've got a slide in the middle of it. This is the parks. We go back to QRP. This is some of the parks. We move it around so it's close to somebody. That way everybody doesn't say, well, you drive 94 miles to go to QRP. No, you don't. They're all over the place. They're in Fort Meade, Juanita, Mary Holland Park, Lake Ship, Lake Hartridge, Crystal Lake, which is here in Lake Wales. Sometimes we have to go across the street in Lake Wales Lake, which that is spelled correctly. If you didn't know, the lake here in town is spelled different than the town. And those, like I said, are some of the themes. Big Dogs on the Porch, Top Cat Cafe will always be there. And this is what they fix. Either brats, hot dogs, you name it. But that's our typical menu. Then the big one, which is normally in October, is going to be January the 31st this year. It's ham and beans. It's a play on words because we want your family to come see what we do. So you bring your family. So we come out and it's going to be at Simmers Young Park, which is off Spirit Lake Road in Winter Haven, or American Spirit Road in Winter Haven. The talk-in are both of those repeaters there. And this year, the club is buying the meat. Okay. We'll be providing the meat, and we're going to resurrect Mike's suggested thing on how to bring it'll come out next week. If your last name ends with these letters, you'll bring a drink. If it ends in these letters, you'll bring a side. If it ends in these letters, you'll bring a dessert. That way you don't get 44 bags of potato chips. So, yeah. So that's coming up, and that's what we're going to do. I've already contacted the person that's cooking meat. I've gone to People's Barbecue, and got a new People's convert here that just went with me the other day to People's, never been before. We're going to have some pulled pork and some pulled chicken. So that'll be a fun time. And we just sit around and play radio. That compound at Simmers Young Park gives us a lot of room to both play radio and have a good time. So don't forget, Saturday the 31st, QRP starts at 9.
I'm glad you didn't go to
And Bartow. Well, it's well done.
Oh, yeah.
Bartends. Yeah. Talked to a friend of mine today who is a franchise owner of Sonny's. Not that one, but he's a franchise owner of Sonny's. And he said they may not let them rebuild because they were already on a variance because they didn't have enough parking spaces. And so that's going to be a problem. There will be some influence from some county commissioners on that because there's a whole lot of people from those two buildings walk over. So there you go. Here's the advertising, chopped meat from Peoples. It's third year we've done that. And if you've never been to a QRP, go to our website and go to the QRP side and then click on the videos, and they'll show you the videos. Russ, Dan, and a couple of other guys do videos, and Russ does the handheld video. Dave does some video, and Dan flies in with his drone that the Hawk crashed for him this week. So, but if you've never been to Russ's Spurious Emissions website, you can get a lot of information. You can learn more about ham radio on that site than you can just about anywhere else. So, but check us out. Projects in 2025. Well, we've done some other things, and you said about the repeaters. Well, here they are. There's the one that's operating. There's the spare directly under it. It's plug and play, and there's the third spare right underneath that. So we have at every site, we have 3 repeaters that we can go to, plug and play, every one of them, to go into, put it back on. We operate these 2 at 5 watts, and we run it off of this amplifier right here because the Yaesu repeater doesn't really like to operate at 50 watts. It actually burns up. It tells you in the instruction manual when you buy one, don't operate at full power. Well, then why did you build it at full power? This is a duplexer. If you don't know, this power supply has been changed out to some better stuff. Then we have a battery backup with some self-charging stuff now. So it can last a little while. That's the antenna. It's in Dundee. It's the tallest antenna. It's a little bitty stick right up there at the top. That's the Dundee repeater site. And Dan and I were up there the other day, and I've already forgotten what we were doing up there, but we were up there for something.
Okay, what's the story on the VHF repeater?
We're getting there.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry, calm down. All right.
Yeah. Club extension project. Going back to GMRS a minute. Got a club extension project. We don't have any money or anything in this other than encouragement and assistance. Okay. But we've got this repeater in Haines City now. It's owned by Dan. And it's an extension of this club because we, again, are welcoming those people in that area back. It's a ICOM repeater. It's got battery backup. And we're on the very top. We're over here on this antenna over here of the big tall building in Haines City. Now, this is one of two things, and I'm not sure which. This is either the oldest elevator operator in the world or either the oldest elevator.
I think the elevator.
Okay, the elevator. The elevator is 97 years old. It has no recall. So when you flip that switch, you have all the control of that elevator, which means when you're off of it on the top floor, no one can call it back downstairs. You own it. The bad thing about that is, and the reason that Dan and I are very careful about only taking someone up there with us, if something happened to us up there, no one would ever know. And they can't get to you. So that's where it's at. That's the antenna that was up there that we put up there, or Dan put up there, and that's Dan, the operator there. And we already talked about that. The Lake Wales, as you know, we had a couple of years ago, the city of Lake Wales decided to move our antenna without our permission, and they put it off to the side of the tower. So we put a new repeater in, a different repeater. The repeater that we have a Motorola in there that's putting out 18 watts or 13 watts. And then we have the Vertex, which is either 28 or 30 as our backup. But Dan put a 100-watt Motorola repeater in there. And that's where we started testing it the other day, and you were hearing all the splatter. We're going, how in the world, what's going on? So Dan has done a lot of research. He sent his drone up yesterday into that antenna array, and the hawk took his drone down. So there must be a nest up there somewhere. And he discovered a couple of things because he's contacted the antenna manufacturer, and whenever they turned it upside down, there's a problem. And the people who built the antenna have kind of told him what it was. Now, you want to see that video now? All right.
I'll explain it.
He said, yes, I would expect a lot of distortion in the pattern from where it is. The water tank itself blocks the radiation of the direction for perhaps half the elements, only I think more of that, in the array. The nearest leg of the tower is causing the most blockage there is. He suggested to move the antenna. Well, that'd be nice. I'd like to put it back on top. Well, obviously we can't do that. So let me show you the video.
He's just gone to 4K.
I started out, I thought I did a pretty good job. I got a nice clear day. The sun was behind me. So we're gonna be taking off here in a minute. I gotta get my asthma's going here.
From the tower.
Yeah, get this. And I took the elevation, and I was really surprised the elevation wasn't very much on this. I've got it written down.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be that. It should be about like 130, but it's sitting on top of the second highest hill.
That's the bottom of the antenna. Now that's the, let me get my notes.
Well, it was, it used to be the top.
Supposed to be the top.
Now, this antenna has been rebuilt, by the way, so. If you're an antenna guy going, hey, there's no silver tape on this, what's the deal?
One Howard rebuilt.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
All right.
Over.
My camera will come back in again. I was trying to watch this and watch the screen and everything else. I'll wake up here in a minute. I wanted to see the connection points. I was curious of what was going on here. That's the very top. So the top antenna points west. The next one down points south. The next one down is east, and the bottom one is north.
And to make things more complicated, it is not truly straight up and
It
down.
is not. It's out about 30 degrees. I mean, at 30 degrees, you should be able to see that. Yeah, you can. On the ground, you can see that. I tried to take a picture straight up on it, and it just went off sideways on me. It wasn't. So what they were suggesting is to take that antenna and move it to the center to get it away from that light and the cage that you crawl up in. That's, and you can see our coax, Mike, if you could pause it. Whoops, too late. We have an inch and a quarter line feeding it. It's right there. That's the inch and a quarter, and then it stubs off about 5 feet down into the pigtail. So there's no mismatch there. And we had 1.1.
1.1.
We had good viswire, good power out. But what was happening, the signal that we were putting out was bouncing around so bad, hitting all that steel.
Yeah.
That's distorting it. Nothing I can do about that.
Yeah. We never noticed it with 13 watts.
No,
Yeah.
you didn't, because it was just it's not enough power. But now we got more power. It really kind of bangs it around. Now, Mike and I talked about another thing. I've just kind of thrown it around, and I'm just gonna just throw it out to you, let everybody think about it. We have a spare FT1 fusion repeater.
Right.
We can take that fusion repeater and put it at that site. So we'll have I'm gonna make it into a 100-watt repeater. I've got an amplifier for it. But we can now have a fusion repeater on VHF. How cool would that be?
Because you can link them.
Radio.
You can link them.
And wow, that would be, I think that would be awesome. And I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna put everything together. Mike and I get to put together, then we'll see what we can do for that. But we still gonna have a problem with that antenna. And that, I'm gonna leave it to Mike's hands, because that's politics, and I don't do politics very well.
So I'm wondering, when you talk to the manufacturer, if we were to put a standoff on there,
He recommended it today.
okay, so like 5 feet, 6
Yeah.
feet?
Yep.
So that gets you quarter wavelength
That's what you should
away
do.
from,
You should,
Yep.
from that stuff.
the very minimal is a quarter.
What I'm going to,
Cheapest solution.
what I'm going to try to convince the city is they moved this without our permission. So they're going to have to pay to go to correct it because it was not repositioned correctly. That's their
Well,
problem.
why did they do that?
They did it on
Mitigation.
lightning mitigation on all the water towers. They have a very expensive lightning mitigation system that was installed on all the water towers. So nothing can be as high or higher than the lightning mitigation system.
I'd like to propose that antenna. It's 4 foot tall. And you could post that one on the outside, that walkway that you walk around. It's just like the cellular antennas. That's where all theirs are. You can put it there. But the only trouble is that's $1,700 for an antenna.
And how much gain? Because this antenna here probably has a boatload of gain.
It does. That's got a 9.5,
Okay.
that's unity gain.
That's, yeah.
I mean, that's a fantastic game.
Well, that's 4 stack. It's a 3 or 4 stack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
9.5, the next one was.
Yeah, it was recommended to us by the county engineer, radio engineer, who was also a ham, he said that particular water tower, you need to go back to him and ask him, can you put one section of tower off the outside of the rail? That will give you some, and go up to the start of the dome and put only a two bay folded dipole antenna instead of a 4. That way you're away from everything. It's going to limit your range to some degree, but it's actually going to increase it because you're getting it away from all this junk. I'm going to try to talk the city into letting us do that. We'll provide the tower. I've got tower that they can use. But we do need to do something about this. Is a definitely a work in progress. So this is where you crashed?
Oh, yeah. Are you gonna show that, are you?
Well, we can.
Well, I didn't crash, the bird fell.
Oh, there we go. Boom.
It looks like Public Works reinstalled the antenna and not a radio tuner.
No, a tower company did it because they moved all the city's repeaters. The city's VHF antennas are on either side of
They
it.
can't be a professional.
The phasing coax is okay?
As far as we know. I mean, we haven't got up close to it. We wanted to make sure that they haven't made the serious mistake that we may had up there before and used LMR 400 as the leg.
Oh, Lord.
Well, that's why one of the reasons I sent the drone up. I want to see where that engine eight was.
Well, how many feet to the repeater on the hard line is it?
About 112.
It's down,
120,
it's down to the
125?
building down below
Yeah.
somewhere? Yeah. That's nothing.
That's why we went to that line.
Do we keep that line dry?
So anyway, that's the VHF project that we were working on, still working on it. That's the VHF repeater that we just put in there. So
Yeah, coming in tonight, it's just noise on there.
That's what it's hearing, it's bouncing.
I mean, it's just a weird white noise, that you just don't normally hear out.
And when you mentioned about the pre-selector, boy, I got thinking about it. I telling Mike, boy, did I tune it? I have my service monitor there. I know I tuned it right. I got a 35 dB at 35 microvolts at 12 dB SINAD, which that's the
The cavities sound like they're in good shape.
oh, cavities are in perfect shape.
Did we put a circulator on there to
Yeah,
maybe?
the circulator.
Okay.
That's because I had
Yeah.
75 going into the circulator, 50 coming out.
Okay. Yeah, which Motorola computer is it?
LGR 2000.
Okay.
It's the one before the
Quantar.
Honda.
Okay, yeah.
It's just before that.
So that's a project. I mean, it doesn't get used a lot, but that's the one we're going to put the next thing on. Oh, what's going on here?
So if you put it out further and make it totally vertical.
Yeah.
Would that fix it?
Except for north,
5 or 6 foot
That's
stand.
better.
except for north.
Okay,
But we don't have many people up north area anyway.
so if that would fix it for most of us, why do you want to go to the, when you show this? Would that fix it?
I just personally like that other end.
Okay.
As you know, for the last couple of years ago, we added Signal Chat. That's turned out to be the best thing we've ever done because you can ask a question on that signal about anything ham related, and within minutes, you've got very good answers. More answers than you really want, but that's good. That's good. But it makes people think. It answers a lot of their questions. It's a good resource tool that we've done. And then we added the swap page. So you can add a completely separate signal group and you can list your equipment on there. The average that it stays on there before it sells is 3 days. So good way to sell some
Except
equipment.
for my MFJ antenna handling.
Yeah. So is my mobile. So we must have something that's bad there. I don't know.
I need to relist that. I see them being sold on QRZ for a lot more money than I'm on.
So, and as you know, I send an email out every Monday called Ham Bites. Just gives you some general information about what's going on in the club. And I think communications, we're in the communications business. Communications is a good thing. Looking ahead for 26 and beyond, we're going to continue to go out into the clubs. And we did not add the Zoom connection. We added the Google Meets. I keep calling it Zoom. It's not.
Google Meet.
It's Google Meet. And it works very well. target for membership is 105 for this coming up year. We're going to be adding some additional things like a QR code for the QRP and VE events. We're still going to keep trying to go out and do some speaking presentations to the service clubs. Gary and I went out, and when we got to this service club, it was Kiwanis, or Rotary. We went to Rotary, and we suddenly realized we're a service club. And we told them that we had 100 when we went. We had 100 members, and they come up at the end and says, "You do realize you're the largest service club in the town, and nobody knows who we are." And I said, "That's pretty cool." Here's 2026. Okay, Make It Magical. How many of you have been to Make It Magical in Lake Wales? Well, there were 26,000 people came to Make It Magical this year. It's always the middle Friday in December, and they close down 2 streets and they put all kind of stuff. It's been going on since 2013, but this year it was amazing at the number of people were there. They had 2 Santa Clauses riding in sleighs, and the kids didn't realize it. It was so big that there were 2 Santa Clauses running around. So that's what we want to do, is we want to set up a booth and let them talk to the North Pole. He could. He could.
Start working on it now.
But I just think it would be so cool to be downtown, since we are the largest service club, to have a booth down there and show people what we do and let the kids have fun. Let the kids show their parents that ham radio is fun. We can do third-party traffic on both ham radio and GMRS and let them have a blast. Let them talk to the North Pole. And the guys that's ever played with those things with the Scouts, or when John does his down at the in Fort Meade, we have just as much fun as those kids do getting on the radio. So that's what I want to do this year to make us famous in Lake Wales, is that, because you don't even have to come. You can be on the other side receiving the radio signal, so you don't even have to come downtown. We can have people set up downtown and people on the other side. So we're going to practice and work on that.
Do you guys have a communications trailer to use for that? Or?
No.
No, just here.
Yeah, just have to set up in tents. We don't have any place to park a communications trailer.
You can park it in my yard.
I'd love to have one,
Right.
but anyway, that's what I'm kind of looking at. So I mean, that's just an idea. I don't own anything. I'm just throwing out ideas. But I was down there because my wife's a Rotarian, and so I have to go down there with her every year. And I'm going, what are we missing? This is the perfect place for us to be, right here in the middle of this square, letting people play radio. So look for some more about that if you're interested in doing that. But I think that's what we're going to do. We'll continue, if you want to continue, with the 3-2-1 format. That's where we have a business meeting and then an entire class and then a hands-on thing. So second and third quarters may require another location sometimes, like we've been given permission. We need to build antennas, or we're going to do something. They will move the apparatus out of the back side of the bays back there for us. You won't want to do that in July, but but we do have accessibility to this area as well. Web page, we're still working on some things with the how we can make that better. We've discussed some things with Judson and we've figured out some things, but still we need to improve on the website. Even though people comment that our website's good. Amazing. Stuff gets lost on there. All right. There's nobody in this room, not very many of you, that remember this. Which way does it roll? Does anybody remember what that means? That is correct. Which way does it roll?
Downhill.
6 years ago, I said this. I wasn't even the president, but 6 years ago, I said this to the club. I said, if you're going to have a club and not let it die, you got to figure out some stuff. And that's this. Which way does it roll? What it really means, the federal government figured out that if it goes over the top, it's usually a progressive type A personality. They studied this, spent your tax money to figure this out. You are a type A personality and you're very outgoing. If it goes behind, you're more reserved. and you just let things happen the way they are. Now, there is one asterisk that needs to be placed here. If it goes over the top and you own a cat, regardless of what personality you have, you will soon turn it the other way because they will definitely unroll the whole roll. But I said it's up to this club to determine whether they're over the top or they're just going to be status quo. There's a third category of people, and there are a lot of clubs in this particular setting that says, I don't care as long as it's there. That's a dying club. And what we did is we determined that we're over the top. And in the last 5-6 years, we've become over the top, and we're just very progressive, well-known, and sometimes talked about badly because that we are over the top. If I said that we can accomplish anything if we, not this group up here, it's this group out here. If we can work together, there are no limits on what we can do. There are no, and so I probably left some people out, but there are some people that have done a whole lot for this club every year, and I appreciate every one of them. And I know I've left some of you out, and I apologize. And then, yes, absolutely. Everyone that attended a meeting, everyone that came to a QRP, how many administer a test, came to a cleanup day at the tower sites, mentored a new ham, invited a new ham, like one over here, checked into a net. Anybody that did anything, if it was that much to make this club better, you deserve a medal. Russ and Gary got a medal for their work that is ham related and not ham related. And I think that's a great thing. There are some people in this club that have been recognized in other areas. Christine been recognized, and kudos. You got an award. You got a gold medal to wear. I appreciate that. And thank you very much for being who you are. Any questions? I always throw this picture up just in case you don't know. Our families are involved in this hobby too. My wife knew from the day that I met her, which is that day right there in that picture, that I would be talking on the radio, just like I'm doing right there.
The guy, he's got hair.
That guy right there is, yeah. And look at that radio. Look at that. Look at that GE Master 2. And then look at this portable, this Comco. It's as big as I am.
How many years did she put up with you?
44.
How many times have you said it'll be just my last radio?
Oh, I don't say that. I'm not like Mike Green. Mike Green, I tell Mike Green's story. Mike Green told his wife that Big Brown would no longer be bringing any other packages to the door. Well, the next day, FedEx delivered the package. He said, I never said anything about FedEx.
Famous words. I'm just going to go look.
Yeah. Thank y'all very much. Oh, let me tell you about something real quick. Let me tell you something about it. I'll tell you this Reader's Digest version. Our license is expired on our repeater. Okay. But it's okay. We got 2-year grace period. I have spent the last 4 days, all day long, each of those days, getting these instructions on how to renew our license from 4 different people. And guess what? None of them work. So we've had to go to the ARRL to assist us. And it's a vanity club license with a silent key who had the original. So it's a complex problem. So, but we've got it figured out, but we can use the radio just so you'll know. So if you go on the website and you see that the license expired, it's okay. Nobody's going to arrest you. So fixing to work.
Thank you for allowing me to talk to everybody a little earlier. One other thing, though, that I did not mention, and you may or may not know, I'm the committee chairman for Hamvention of the FOTA meeting. I organize that every year. And we'll be meeting there on the 13th of February. It's up at Wakiwa Springs State Park, north of the facility. We do a POTA. It's a lot of the YouTube people are there. I used to be, not so much anymore, but I used to be pretty involved with the YouTube stuff and everything. And if people are thinking about coming up and joining us to do a photo event up there, you do need to get reservations early. The state of Florida has selected certain parks where they no longer will allow you to just come up to the gate and buy a ticket to get in. It's $4, I think, per car to get in up there. You have to make a reservation in advance. It's a crazy world we're in, but that's the way it is. So they're trying it out. I'm afraid they're going to take it other places. But anyhow, please, if you're thinking about doing some photo with us up there, please try to come.
Shoot me some information and I'll put it out in hand bites.
I've got a flyer.
Great. Anything else?
Like, just real quick, you mentioned some stuff we might talk about. Just a couple of things to think about, nothing for action tonight. We were talking about different things, what the club can do and different things. So some things to think about. Again, not any action for tonight. We were talking about what the club can do for like new hams or whatever. And a while back, we talked about giving everybody that passed a technician test a little bowfang radio. You can get them for $20 a piece or whatever. We had talked about having a supply of those, you know, programmed up to the local stuff and giving that to a new tech. Another thing we've talked about over the years, and they alluded to it a little bit when we were talking about fusion for the VHF machines, is linking the repeaters. We talked about that a few years ago, and there was a lot of pushback on that. And I'll be honest, I was a little pushback. But we don't use the VHF very much. Everybody's got so accustomed to using the radio. I mean, we extend the range of who people can talk. So if we linked it, you could always unlink it if you needed to for an emergency or some other event or something like that. You know, the PEM system is linked permanently unless they have to unlink something for a specific event or whatever. So linking those might be something to think about. The last thing is we have a lot of folks that can't come to night meetings because they can't drive. I was one of them, so I got my eyes cut on this last 2 weeks. So throw out an idea of once or twice a year, we have an afternoon or a morning meeting where people that want to come in person can come in person. It's great that we had 13 people on Zoom. I think that's phenomenal. But some of those people could come to a daytime meeting for whatever various reasons. So these are just things for y'all to think about as we go forward into the new year. Something to try or, you know, whatever along that line. And I'll close with this. I've been in this club 15 years. This is the best board of officers we've ever had. Kudos to them.
Got anything about dues? All right. Yeah. Huh?
See you next month.
See you next month. That'll be.